take us inside what you think would be perhaps the best landing spot for OBJ if he's available.
Yeah, I like what Greeny said there, guys. Odell Beckham makes the Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense much better, and here's why. During trade negotiations, you ask for permission to speak to Odell and his agent, and you say, hey, look, come down here, help us repeat as Super Bowl champs. We're going to need you to take less money because we're trying to keep the group together. But if you win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, imagine that puts you back on the national conversation. You let Chris Godwin graduate, you take that savings, and now you keep Levante David, Shaq Barrett, Ndamukong Suh. So Beckham's a better player than Godwin, and if you recruit him the right way, you could probably get him for less money. So I think Beckham actually could help the other side of the ball and still keep you explosive on offense.
With that being said, Mike, I don't know how you, because I wasn't in all of the meeting rooms, clearly, when y'all made some poor decisions on trading certain players. But anyway, when you look at OBJ versus Godwin, you're asking Godwin to move on, but you're bringing in OBJ, which are two different type of wide receivers. One guy is an inside guy, and the other guy is predominantly an OBJ is outside. So what happens when you need to replace the production of Godwin in inside? Who goes there?
Well, first of all, Key, you bring up a great point. Not everyone's as smart as certain organizations that can get 2 first-round picks for a receiver. So maybe we should manage the expectations of what Cleveland can get.
Tell him,
so
Mike.
I appreciate you bringing that up. No, in all seriousness, you bring up a great point. But I think that's why Antonio Brown is important, because AB has flexibility. Put him inside. Now think about this. If you have Mike Evans, Odell Beckham Jr. on the outside, AB in the slot with Gronk at tight end, who are you going to double? When you get to the red zone, it's almost undefensible. So it's a great point, but I think that's where AB, and again, we've talked about this before, Tom Brady becomes not only a great player on the field, but he's created this aura of association. So if you get Gronk and AB back, now you have some flexibility. And I love Godwin. I think he's a little bit of an underrated player. Don't get me wrong, but this is a resource allocation discussion. And if we could keep 3 really good players on the other side of the ball, Levante David, Shaq Barrett, and maybe Ndamukong Suh, and now Beckham wants to come down there because the weather's better, no state taxes, and I get to play with Tom Brady, yeah, I'll take some less money. I'll sign up for that short term. And wow, I think they become even better offensively.
How much pressure is on Frank Reich, the Indianapolis Colts, and Carson Wentz to evolve beyond where they were this year with Phillip Rivers at quarterback, now that they've gone out and acquired Carson Wentz?
Key, assuming Deshaun Watson is not traded, I think Carson Wentz is the 4th best quarterback in the AFC South, and I think there's enormous pressure, and I think this is going to be a real struggle for the Colts. Ryan Tannehill's been a top 3 quarterback since he's been in Tennessee. Deshaun Watson is a top 5 player in the NFL, and Trevor Lawrence may be better than all those guys. So Carson Wentz really struggled last year. I think he'll be better than he was, but I don't think this is going to materially impact how well they do, because I think all those other quarterbacks, to me, I would take before I would take Carson Wentz.
Jeez. So, Mike, right out of the gate, you're projecting Trevor Lawrence to have a better season upcoming than Carson Wentz?
Well, Jay, here's what I would say. When you give up multiple high picks where it's going to be, let's say, presumably a 3rd this year and a 1st next year, you're really making that decision for the next 3 to 5 years. So I agree with you. In 2021, maybe I do take Wentz. That's close for me because I think Trevor Lawrence is that good. But from a Colt perspective, you gave up multiple high picks for a number of years, and I just don't see Wentz being any better than 4th. Again, that's assuming that Deshaun Watson's there. If Watson's gone, I change my opinion. But I think this is going to be a heavy lift for Indy, and I think Carson Wentz, when you look how much he struggled between turning the ball over, his fumbles, his lack of confidence, I do think it'll be better in Indy, but I don't think I put them in that Super Bowl conversation.
Mike, let's talk about Watson for a second and Deshaun Watson. What are the Texans doing? Why are they waiting around to try to fix this? How come are they looking to trade, and what's going on there? What's happening?
And, Mike, we got just about a minute.
Yeah, my hunch is this, guys. I think Nick Caserio wants to hold on to Deshaun Watson and try to fix it. If I'm them, here's what keeps me up at night. If we had this conversation a year ago, Doug Marrone was saying, Jalen Ramsey is a Jaguar, he'll be here. Then Jalen Ramsey has a hurt back. Next thing you know, he's a Ram. And what I'm concerned about for the Texans is if the draft comes and goes, and now Deshaun Watson doesn't show up and we're into September, and you're trying to establish David Culley, now it gets really tough because now you're not going to maximize his trade value. So I think you're making a good point, which is if either you're in and you're going to go through a whole lot of tough days and you're going to have to wait it out, which may take a year, or if you're going to trade him, Jay Will, do it right now, because right now is when you have the most teams interested, where in theory you get the most in return.
Yep, sit at home and eat fried chicken, Jay, and come in with 6 weeks to go in the regular season to get my credit season and move on from there.
It's always about the accrued season. You got to get the accrued season.
What? They don't want to move me, right, Mike? Just stay at home. Stay at home and chill. I'll come in with 6 weeks to go.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.